All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, the same Leader 13, as we are prepared to get underway for our third stint of the TORA Kylami 9-hour Enduro. Our first stint was very intense from about third or fourth on back for most of the day, but it was pretty thoroughly dominated by the yellow HYR BMW. So that was absolutely interesting to see as we look real quickly at it. Was this one here, HYR Skyline, that dominated stint 1, led every lap except one, and easily dominated. However, while this car started on pole in stint 2, it only led a single lap before an instant in the second to last corner caused it to hit the wall, take damage, and it very, very quickly ended up hemorrhaging a significant amount of time. Then we ended up having overall 4 different leaders in the first 30 minutes of stint 2, made for a very close, very interesting event, to say the least. After the yellow HYR BMW wrecked on lap 2 with minor damage, but still continued, it then went to Zula 808. Zula 808 went ahead and led for about 4 or 5 laps before they also lost the lead. About a lap after losing the lead, Zula went off circuit as well. While he didn't hit anything, he did damage the engine in the process. Zula did rebound back to finish in 5th place overall. Then it went to FTC Sakura. Sakura had DNF with about 12 minutes left in stint 1, but was out front leading in stint 2, keeping SFM Darkster behind her. And then at about 5 to 6 minutes before they would have made their first stop, Sakura had another disconnect. That turned the lead over to SFM Darkster, and Darkster walked away with the lead. Didn't really sprint away like what we saw Skyline did in stint 1. Just kind of slowly walked away with the lead after that point. Darkster has won our second stint. He's the one hosting stint 3, and will be trying to go back-to-back on stint wins. The Aston Martin advantage that he showed up and didn't have a great run in the first stint, but win in stint 2 and win stint 3 would most definitely help a lot in dragging that car up the overall order. Not a whole lot really went on in stint 2 after the first round of pit stops went by. There were some interesting fights between the AWR drivers and LMP drivers for third, some fights between Audis back in about the 6th position, but really not a whole lot went on. A lot of the excitement and interest was concentrated in the first 4 or 5 positions in the first third of the race, and then it just kind of gradually fell off. So stint 1, stint 2 definitely have had 2 radically different flavors. I'm really interested to see what today's final stint is going to look like. Real quickly, FTC Sadie, we heard that Sadie is running with a dislocated shoulder and is going to be trying to do it on a wheel and trying to do both stint 3 and stint 4. So good bloody luck to you, Sadie. I don't know how in the world you're going to do that, but good bloody luck to you. Scored Buffalo is the 3rd different IFEA driver to step into the car. Maybe Racing couldn't even finish in the top 10 in stint 1. NFL racer DNF'd in stint 2, but also was having incidents and accidents before that. So Scored Buffalo hopefully going to try and put in the first good BMW performance today for the IFEA. Nebel 84033 really fought hard with the Cadillac, but just overcooked the tires, made a lot of mistakes, and just could not get the results that I think the Cadillac might have. And WR Berkeley is running the Audi in this event. LMP Bilbo is going to be in the M6. Bilbo had a respectable run in stint 1. C1 Nemesis is back in that maroon Audi. I absolutely love how this thing looks, but it's not really performed the strongest in the first 2 stints. Koenigsegg R is in the number 6 Lexus. We know this Lexus has some pace. It came home to a 4th overall in stint 2, but the driver in stint 2 could not make the final pass to get 3rd, even though they were faster on track. We'll see if Koenigsegg can change that here. I Love Fishy is the 3rd different driver to step into the pink, white, and blue Porsche. We'll keep an eye on them. They had a horrible run in stint 2. Respectable in stint 1, but horrible in stint 2. NWR Origin is going to be in one of the Acuras here, so keep an eye on them for sure. LMP Veloce, one of my favorite drivers to watch in these series, is going to be representing one of the LMP Audis once again. Mr. Kirby is the 3rd different driver in that very colorful, almost sticker bomb color McLaren. AX4X, who's the first driver in that car, did not finish stint 1. The stint 2 run for the McLaren, while they did finish, they were a lap down at the end, so just not a great run for them. X3 Art Nico is in one of the other McLarens in the 690 McLarens, so keep an eye on them if you can. ZR Benito, we didn't really talk about them a whole lot in Stint 2. Maybe things will change here in Stint 3. They're the only Mercedes in the field. Hilfiger had a great recovery drive in one of the earlier stints. This will be their second stint today. Really curious to see how they're going to end up pulling out. LMP Itov San is their first stint of the day in the Aston Martin, one of 2 Aston Martins in today's event, so keep an eye on them. Really curious to see how they're going to turn out. AR Nara SC, this was the car that came home to a 3rd place finish in Stint 1. But Nara, this is their first stint of the day. 3 different drivers in this car throughout the event thus far. AWR Darda is in the Bentley, the same Bentley that we saw fighting and bringing home a respectable finish in Stint 2. Then HYR Skyline, this car started on the pole in Stint 1 with this driver and won in dominating fashion. A different HYR driver, though, started on the pole in Stint 2, led only a single lap before the instant. They did finish, but they finished a lap down. I believe at the line they were only about a foot ahead of 14th position, so not a great second stint by HYR team. Skyline's going to have to rebound strongly here today. This is SFM Darkster. They went ahead and dominated the latter 2/3 of Stint 2, but they did have to fight hard for it in Stint 1. I'm really interested to see what they're going to be able to do here today. All right, it looks like we're just about to get underway here. 90-minute clock. Once the Forza ticker goes, we will go. And like usual, we'll try and run the field down its order very quickly before we go to a normal broadcast here. Hopefully no one dropped out as we load onto the circuit. We got underway very efficiently in Stint 2. Hopefully we can do the same in Stint 3. My voice appreciated the 15 or so minute break. All right, 90-minute clock is going. So once again, we go back to the rail camera. This is HYR Skyline, our pole sitter in the number 32 BMW. This is the 3rd stint that they're going to start on the pole. Second, that Skyline themselves will start on the pole. Dominated Stint 1. Can they do the same in Stint 2? That's going to be the question. Behind them is going to be LMP Itov San in the number 826 machine. Behind them will be LMP Bilbo in the 825. While one is a Aston Martin and one is a... one is an Aston Martin and one is an Audi. Both are painted very similarly. Hilfiger is going to be starting 4th in another Audi. Then you will have AWR Darda here in the Bentley, and the number 98 Bentley at that. Followed by AR Nara SC in the number 22 Acura. Denso Acura to be exact. Koenigsegg R is going to be in the number 6. Aero Wash Lexus. You see the Lexus has shown some strength here. Then in 8th is going to be Neville. This is about the position where this Cadillac finished Stint 2 at. So they're going to be looking to try and make some move up the grid. Darkster all the way back at 9th. This is a little bit worse than where Darkster actually started in Stint 2, but he did win Stint 2. So maybe Darkster can make something happen. The big question is going to be if Skyline gets a big gap. I don't know if Darkster will have the ability to run them down. Behind Darkster in the 156 will be NWR Berkey 7, followed by Scored Buffalo and the IFEA machine. Then behind them will be the 690 X3R Nico. In the McLaren once again, behind them will be another Acura NWR Origin. And then just behind them, as we see him roll up in the position, C1 Nemesis in the number 697 Maroon Audi. Behind Nemesis will be this driver here, ZR Benito, as you see the Mercedes, the number 318 Mercedes, the only Mercedes in the field, roll into position. Just behind them will be the Audi, the 827 of LMP Veloce. And behind Veloce will be Mr. Kirby, I believe, as we see them roll that number 25. Super colorful, but not very fast thus far, McLaren. Then 18th will be I Love Fishy in the 742 Porsche, really trying to turn their results around. And then rounding out the back of the field will be FTC Sadie. Sadie, again, their main driver of the FTC clan, who ran their first two stints, were not able to finish either of the first two stints. And Sadie is trying to drive back from a hole, and then in addition is driving with a dislocated shoulder. If Sadie drops out, I would not be surprised if it ends up being due to a issue with the shoulder, giving them too much issue, just as likely as it might be a issue regarding connectivity. So if that happens, we'll keep an eye out on them. But if FTC Sadie can actually finish, it would be the best result for that entry thus far today. Standing by at the moment, waiting for everyone to start moving here. All right, and now we see them starting to roll. So the field has now made their way through the first two corners. HBR Skyline up front. They've been here once before and absolutely dominated. Can they do it today? They've got LMP It of Sand right behind it. LMP Bilbo behind as well. Darkster, who won Stint 2, is going to try and come back. Can either of these go? 2 Stint victories in the first 3. We'll find out. Green flag is out here at Kylami. Immediately, It of Sand goes wide, trying to look on the outside. There is no room. Skyline holds position through the first 2 racing corners. We are underway. Big twitch by the Aston that is currently located in second position. We see a little bit of side-by-side action farther back. Bilbo is trying to keep Hilfiger behind. Hilfiger has the best start that he has had thus far in one of these stints, and It of Sand is weak coming uphill. Bilbo on the outside. 2 LMP Esports team drivers side by side for second and third. The Audi trying to muscle its way on the outside. I think he's going to do it, and yes, the M6 on the outside is going to muscle its way by the Aston. It of Sand lunges in, but can't really do anything. Here comes the Audi there of Hilfiger, and it looks like that Aston Martin, that one entered by the LMP team, is struggling much more than Darkster's was, it would appear. He's recovered back in the third as the field rushes through that high-speed bend, but it looks like everyone got through without anything wrong. Skyline has opened up already a 300-foot gap on our second-place driver. The fight is for third. LMP It of Sand being put under pressure by Hilfiger. The Audi comes to the inside. There is a Bentley behind, ready to capitalize as well. Side by side for third position in turn number 1. Hilfiger has the position. The Aston Martin trying to cut back by, gets the nose ahead out of turn 2. The Audi has the inside line going into turn number 3. Squeezes the Aston wide. The Audi goes deep inside to try and keep running the Aston from off circuit, but it's too late. He's lost a position. Here comes the Bentley to the inside. Now the Bentley of AWR Darda has the inside line, but Hilfiger and the Audi is in a car that has more downforce, is able to hold that outside line. It will give him the inside in the following corner. Darda is on the outside, forces the Audi to take a not so optimal line. Now here comes It of Sand back. It looks like Hilfiger has third for good, and Darda and It of Sand are struggling out for the fourth position. Darkster is already covered in the 6. You can see him right there. The one Aston overtakes another. It of Sand just cannot seem to perform. Now that this Aston has been nerfed, he goes to the extreme inside. Darkster is trapped on the outside. There are all sorts of sideways on top of each other, and it looks like Darkster is going to pull out of here in 5th. It of Sand is going to slip down to 6th. And Hilfiger is still 4th at the moment, trying to keep Darkster behind. Darkster now lunges to the inside. A bit of a touch from behind by, I believe that is, Koenigsegg R. Side by side into the high-speed chicane. The Audi can't do a single thing. It goes off. It gets hit from behind by LMP. It of Sand. It of Sand is all sorts of sideways trying to keep it on track. It is an absolute chaotic mess here in the midfield right now. Skyline is absolutely blitzed away from the field at the moment, but it is pure chaos once you get out of the top 4 positions. Bilbo in second has also gapped the rest of the field pretty well. There's some moves going on by Nara SC trying to get by Scored Buffalo there. Hilfiger has slipped back to 10th. Despite being as high as 4th earlier, so it's just not been very good for this Audi after sliding wide earlier. Now you can see C1 Nemesis farther back, another Audi trying to make something happen. A lot of chaos all the way through the field. SFM Darkster now trying to make something happen to AWR Darda, lunges to the inside of the Bentley. Koenigsegg R in the Lexus is there as well. 3 different manufacturers, but all in 3 very big, very heavy, very large cars. All 3 known for acceleration advantages though, but it looks like Darkster is going to pull away. So Darkster, who won Stint 2, is already up into 3rd position right now. Skyline has absolutely blitzed away from most of the field. Look at Nebel, he has moved up into the 6th position early on in this stint. And mind you, the LMP driver that started 2nd, LMP It of Sand, has already dropped out of the top 10 positions. Not a great performance. Darda now has to try and defend from Koenigsegg R. Those 2 were fighting, not with the same drivers, but those 2 cars were fighting for a position for a long time back in Stint 2, almost to the end. But this time it looks like the Lexus of Koenigsegg R is going to be able to get by. Nebel in the Cadillac runs just behind, ready to capitalize if something goes wrong. Everyone's able to get through the high-speed kink this time. Nebel has an Audi on his inside. That is Birchie. Birchie inside. Nebel outside. It will be a drag race between those 2 for position. Darkster has already opened up near 300-foot gap on Koenigsegg R in 4th position. So it looks like in this run, at least, it's going to be a question of can Darkster run down Bilbo, and then after that, will Darkster be able to run down Skyline? There's a lot of fighting going on farther back there. That Scored Buffalo trying to make something happen against Birchie. Side by side, neck and neck. It looks like Scored is going to stay ahead of Nara, but could not make the spot over Birchie's stick. All right, uphill, big sideways moment by Birchie. All sorts of sideways in turn 3. They'll maintain their position for now. Movement farther back, Hilfiger is trying to make something happen there to Nara SC. Oh, that Audi of Birchie is incredibly fast, maybe too fast, because it seems like they're all sorts of sideways under braking. Might not have enough rear downforce to keep the rear of the car stable, and if it's not downforce, maybe it might be something else wrong with the way that the car is mechanically set up or has its brake balance set up. The thing seems very squirrely. Now again, we've not even burned up the best of their tires, really, but that Audi of Birchie seems really squirrely when they put the brakes on. Might be not enough downforce in the mirror, might be too much rear brake bias, but either way, Birchie may be struggling real bad as this event goes on. All right, Darkster is slowly pulling away from 3rd, but hasn't really shown any signs of closing down on our 1st or 2nd place drivers at the moment. Big positive for Darkster is that their teammate did a slightly better run in Stint 1 than what Skyline's teammate did in Stint 2. So it looks like it will be, for right now, between Skyline and Darkster's teams of all the teams that are here in Stint 3. The entire field flying down the front straightaway once again. A little bit of a fight farther back between AR Nara SC and Hilfiger. Hilfiger trying to go to the inside. Nara on the outside, heavy under braking. Audi against Acura. It looks like the Audi has the position. Nara can't really give it up yet. Faster out of 2, but as they go into 3, the Acura is really cautious and it lets Hilfiger get by. Tried to set for a crossover, but the Audi was just a little bit too good on acceleration. Initial acceleration, but now the acceleration picks up a bit. The Acura goes to the outside, but can't keep it side by side with the Audi. The Audi is just too good in these higher speed, downforce focused corners. There are only 2 of them here, but it seems like those have been 2 very decisive corners for the Audi's results thus far today. A lot of the field seems to have figured themselves out early on in the first 5 or 6 laps here, it would appear. Got very chaotic in the first 3 laps, so now everyone's kind of settled down into their actual position very early on. Here comes Sarah, peeks to the inside on the run up to the top of the hill, but won't commit to it. That is LMP Itmasan, who started second all the way down in 11th, the back half of the field. Not a great run by that Aston Martin. Actually, I want to look real quickly. Does that car have any damage on it, or is it just slow? No damage, it is just slow. Berkey and scored Buffalo here, side by side, and Berkey is the one trapped on the outside, but they will go a little slower, but they will keep the car on the track, runs right into the back of the BMW as the BMW runs behind the Cadillac of Neville. We know that Neville has a car that is incredibly fast in a straight line, but has shown weakness in the corners and has shown weakness in keeping the car under it as the tires fall off, not to mention his general driver instability. But right now, that doesn't seem to be a problem. Buffalo can close on Neville in the corners, but are there enough corners to give him a chance to get by the Cadillac? That's the real question. Most of the other positions have pretty much resolved themselves at this stage of the event. And while Darkster is in third, he is not closing on LMP Bilbo. If anything, Bilbo might be slightly closing on Skyline at this stage of the event. But right now, first and second seem pretty set in stone. Darkster, who won our last stint, is in third at the moment. My goodness, that is incredibly chaotic here in the back half of the field right now. While FTC Sadie has completely lost touch, I'm not really surprised. They are driving with a damaged arm. All of these drivers here really throwing everything they've got at the wall right now. McLaren outside of the Audi. Now the run downhill. Bit of a twitch. Really bouncing hard off of... Oh, wow, here's that move from Kirby. Just lunges it. But it looks like the crossover might end up screwing them over. They got the position briefly. No, I think they got it for good. No, they did not. Sorry, they did not. And now, here comes Nemesis to the inside. And Nemesis lunges to the inside of Kirby, as NWO Origin and LMP End of Sand have a bit of a position exchange farther up the grid. Very chaotic, intense racing here at the back end of this field right now. Right on board, it's our Nico who goes to the inside. Nemesis, huge door-on-door contact. Right, this is for the second to last position, realistically. Jar Benito trying to scoot away from Nemesis just a little bit here. Audi versus Audi. No, this isn't Audi. We're in the McLaren. Maybe the back of the field is starting to calm down just a bit. As this big train of cars from about 10th to 18th all go through the high-speed kink, and they all keep it on track. Nemesis drops tires off into the dirt. Someone else did as well farther up, side by side for 17th and 18th. It's going to be a drag race. McLaren versus Audi, and both of them have lost touch with the drivers ahead now. Who's going to go harder into the braking zone? Again, another hard case of door-on-door contact. And it seems like XVR is just struggling to keep up. Another fight going on between Nebel and Berkey. This is for the 17th position scored. In the IFEA, BMW entries best showing as far as dragged their car up to 6th. This is the fight for 7th, though. Excuse me. Berkey looking inside, outside. Maybe we'll make him dive to the inside here. Coming up to the top of the hill. Neville on the outside, Berkey inside. And it looks like the Audi will cut the Cadillac off as they come uphill here. So Skyline is comfortably in first. Bilbo comfortably in second. There's a bit of a stalking battle going on for 3rd and 4th. And they have to look back a bit to 7th to see the next real fight going on. Boy, that Audi twitched hard. He cut the circuit a lot, but had enough room that he could afford to twitch and still save it. Potential fight, more like a stalking battle for 3rd and 4th. Darkser is 3rd, Koenigsegg is 4th. This Lexus was not able to get better than 4th in Stint 2. Koenigsegg wanting to try and turn that around. They are trying to run down the driver who won Stint 2. It's going to be really difficult for them. Someone may have just gone off there. Was that Berkey or Neville? One of them may have gone off there. I think it was Neville. Yeah, Neville has suddenly lost touch with Berkey and is now under pressure from TORA C and NWR Origin. And there's Hilfiger making a big move to the inside. Neville has the straight line speed in the Cadillac, but just did not seem to have it set up well enough to go through the corners. We looked at its Forza graph that gave early on, which generally rates its speed, acceleration, handling, and braking. And Neville's machine just did not have great stats in anything except top speed. So it seems like Neville and that team has really gone min-max, really maximized its straight line speed advantage at a significant cost of handling. It makes it very, very difficult to overtake, but it makes it very easy to have drivers make mistakes in that car. Jesus, sweet alive. What is this? They were trying to go nearly 3 wide up to the top of the hill there. So a lot more fighting in the back half of the field in this stint. Everyone's running very knives out, razors out. The sand is trapped on the outside of Kirby, but will keep the car on track somehow. Oh, wow. Hilfiger very nearly runs over Origin as they come out of the final corner. It looks like Berkey is starting to scoot away from Neville just a bit. So Neville can fight really well, but it's so easy for them to make mistakes, and that seems to be the big thing that's really cost them. AWR Darda has been caught by Scored Buffalo. Mind you, Buffalo has just not shown, in a car that has not shown much promise in the first 2 stints. Maybe racing, while they did finish Stint 1, was pretty much invisible, never really flew to the top half of the field. Then NFL Racer took that car over in Stint 2, had engine damage, had an issue with the car not fueling up, and then DNF'd with about 20 minutes or so left in the stint. So Buffalo really trying to dig the team out of a hole, doing the best he can right now, trying to crack that car back into the top 5 positions. Koenigsegg are still keeping touch with Darkser at the moment. The top 3 aren't really closing or falling away from each other right now. The top 6 overall have really streaked away from the field. The fight is really from about 7th on back. But if Neville can't catch Berkey, I think Berkey will be in a good position here. Neville gained that, having a relatively decent starting position and a relatively good start, coupled with a few other drivers having a really bad start, has kind of shaken up the field a bit in the middle to rear of the grid. I think all these drivers that got clean air early on, got away from that big mess, will have a ridiculously good result if they don't end up blowing it as the event goes on. Oh, Buffalo into the dirt. That will work in Darda's favor. Buffalo's not lost Darda, but this will throw away about a lap or two's worth of effort that had been put in. Farther back, this is LMP Veloce in the middle of this giant fight. You can see a fight there between Aura, NSC, and NWS Origin. Oh, and that's an accident, I think. Kirby has had an accident. We saw the car briefly sideways, and the rear of the car is destroyed. Whatever happened, Kirby has been absolutely destroyed. And a car that did not finish Stint 1, went a lap down in Stint 2, now has damage and took it in the last corner. So they're going to have to go around the entire circuit with a damaged car. This basically means that this entry, I hate to say it, but any chance they had of maybe even a top 10 overall finish might as well be killed now. Horrible, horrible run for this entry. Were there any other cars that had similar damage? I think Sadie was far enough back that they weren't going to get caught up in it. No damage from Sadie. What about Fishy? No damage for Fishy. What about X3 Art Nico? Small amount of engine damage, but shouldn't really be enough to do anything. And then all these other spots still seem to be fighting like nothing's up, so I don't think anyone else had damage. Whatever happened to Kirby, I wonder if he got hit from behind, spun out, backed it into a wall, coming out of the final quarter, and that might have, and then slid backwards across the field, and that may have been where he got all the damage. We see another driver pit here as they go through the final two corners. We can assume that they probably were the ones who had damage. Looks like everyone's going to stay on circuit, though. So yeah, more than likely, looks like a one-car incident for Kirby. This is likely going to trap him a lap down very early on in the event. Sadly, didn't get a great view of it, but you did most definitely see the car backwards, coming out of the final corner, sliding backwards across the field at an angle, and when they finally got going, the rear is totally destroyed. Not looking good for that entry whatsoever. Veloce's lost about 2 positions there, so not a great run for them. No, there's no damage, okay. Veloce most definitely showing some weakness here early on. Scored Buffalo has caught Darda again, and Koenigsegg has not let Darkser get away, really. And again, first and second are not getting away from each other or from Darkser. So if anything happens to our top 2, that could bring things in a little closer. Nara SC goes off just a little bit up the road there. Once again, we want to look at this fight here. Scored Buffalo right behind Darda again. Got to this point about 2 laps ago, then went off in the coming out of the second to last corner, that high-speed kink. Hit it out of the wall, credit where credit is due, but still not a great performance by Buffalo there. Now has recovered, is fighting back against Darda. Our top 4 all share the front straightaway with each other at the moment. Now, I do think Scored is faster than Darda, but I don't know if Scored is fast enough to keep up with our top 4 drivers. Big credit to Koenigsegg. That entry, while it was fast in the last stint, was only about top 3 fast. And while right now it looks like it might only be about top 3 fast again, top 3, top 4 fast now is not the same as what would have been the last stint. He is fighting with Stint 2. So this driver, Koenigsegg, seems to be agree a lot more at this car's setup than his prior teammate. Could end up bringing back some time in overall distance, but might not be in a position. Oh, did someone else go off there? C1 Nemesis has had an incident with FTC Sadie, I think. A little bit of transmission damage to Nemesis. I don't see anything else. And Sadie, I don't know if Sadie got caught up in it or just went by it. Doesn't look like there's any damage to Sadie. What about Fishy, who's at the back of the field right now? No damage. Okay, so whatever it was, seems to have mostly resolved itself here. Scored Buffalo has gotten by Darda. I apologize, I missed that overtake, but Buffalo has now gotten by Darda and is now trying to fight their way forward here. They can clear Darda in the next few corners. They'll have nice, clean air. Won't have to worry about anything behind. Just focus on cracking out some top laps here. Again, the big thing, the more interesting thing is Darkser keeping Koenigsegg behind, and neither of these drivers really making any big moves against each other. They're content to stay, not quite nose to tail. I think part of it might be that Koenigsegg is gaining a big toe off of the Aston Martin of Darkser, but is not really in a position where he feels like he can make big moves, especially with a big sled like that. Skyline opening up the gap on the drivers behind. Very slowly but surely it is happening. Bilbo, credit where credit is due, I did not tag him as being a potential top 3 finisher, but they absolutely are there. Second place at the moment, looking very, very strong for Bilbo right now. Yeah, Scored Buffalo is absolutely blitzed away from AWR Darda right now. Fight for 8th and 9th. Neville trying to keep NWR Origin behind. This is another Acura versus Cadillac battle. But now this big cluster muck in the back half of the field starting to split up into a lot of 2-car fights. This is LMP It of Sand. Started second, fell to 11th. At one point fell as far back as 13th, but it seems like this car's actual pace was around the 10th to 12th positions. LMP Veloce trying to make it be more of a 12th place and 11th place car, but have to get by him to make that actually happen. Good luck, mate. C1 Nemesis has cleared FTC Sadie for the moment. So Veloce now to the inside of It of Sand, Audi versus Aston. And under brake, it looks like the Audi should be able to make this work without issue. Both cars are a little wide. But yeah, the Audi has absolutely cleared the Aston. It of Sand just does not seem to have the stability or comfortableness in the car to enable him to make big moves. Mind you, the other LMP Esports entry with that same paint scheme is Bilbo, and they are currently running in second position. It just seems to be that this team really got hurt by the last minute, well not really last minute, but like last 32-hour change to the cars. Primarily because the Aston Martin gained a massive balance nerf, hurting its cornering ability. Slipped to 12th, and now X3 Art Nico is trying to close in to make something happen. If you are in 3rd or 4th position, SFN Darkster or Kona Sagar, you might want to be careful because a certain person called Scored Buffalo is slowly starting to cut that gap to you 2 down. So keep an eye on that. We are about 30 minutes through this stint. Not quite a third of the way through the race. Oh! And that's the Audi going off. Veloce goes off, and that'll let It of Sand get by. Now, Veloce didn't hit the wall. Great job on their part. But now It of Sand gets back by Veloce. And Veloce back on the inside. This Audi seems to have a little bit better straight line speed. Not massively better, but enough to let him make these moves without issue. He'll get by. The Acura of X3 Art Nico tries to follow, but the gap closes before he can make the move. Oh, It's of Sand onto the outside curve. Somehow keeps it together, but now loses the spot to X3 Art. And now ZR Benito to the inside of the Aston. It will be the outside as they get to turn 4. Oh, that Aston is all sorts of sideways, throwing the car into turn 4. Keeps Benito behind, but is now losing time to both Nico and Veloce. And It's of Sand is sideways again. Something happened to Kirby again? Or has Sadie made a stop? Sadie may have made a stop here. Yeah, both drivers have now made a pit stop at this stage of the event. And Kona Sagar is going to make a stop as well. So, our 4th place driver stops early compared to everyone else. Remember in Stint 1, we saw Skyline go farther than anyone else. In Stint 2, we saw Darkster go farther than anyone else. Those drivers are 1st and 3rd now. Will they be able to replicate that performance again? Again, mind you, Darkster went long on Stint 1, but short on Stint 2, and that worked out perfectly for him. Koenigsegg is going to pit, as will LMP, It of Sand, and Hilfiger. So plenty of drivers pitting in this stint. Koenigsegg is going to be not so happy because look where they ended up. Look at this. Right behind a absolute field of cars. 14th, and there is just about everyone from about 14th up to maybe 9th, all on top of each other. Now, Koenigsegg's not right on top of them, but he is definitely fast enough that if they stay out for more than a lap, he will catch them and will start finding his lap time compromised by him. Boy, what is happening to Love Fishy? Completely off circuit in that course for a prolonged period of time. Not good for Koenigsegg, because now Koenigsegg is going to catch them in one of the higher speed corners. Gets right behind Fishy, he's going to look to the outside. Is he going to be able to make the overtake happen early, quickly? No, it does not look like it. Koenigsegg already being held up by traffic. Not good news for him. And if Darkser wants to pit now, they'll be in trouble because they would end up in the exact same kind of traffic. Maybe minus Fishy, but would still be dealing with the exact same level of traffic here. Traffic management looking to be a potential issue. Koenigsegg lunges under Fishy. He knows he wants to get by this traffic quickly and turn laps in clean air. Fishy on the outside, going to keep the Lexus honest. The Porsche has a little bit better straight line than the Lexus. Darda is going to pit out 5th position. And Fishy holds station over Koenigsegg. They're still side by side. This is not what the Lexus wants. They're still side by side. Do either of them back out here in the high-speed bid? No, neither of them do. And Koenigsegg's the one who slides off. Bad news for Koenigsegg. This is great news for Dark. So this means that more than likely, they won't have to worry about Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg cannot turn these laps in clean air. All right, Darda's made his pit as well as Neville. Where's Darda ended up? Darda is still well behind Koenigsegg for now, though. But Darda will have tires that are about a lap fresher. Our top 4, no one, honestly, in the top 11 have made their stop yet. Koenigsegg is the first driver to make the first pit stop. Again, Stint 1, we saw the leader go long. Stint 2, we saw the leader go long on Stint 1. Are we going to see the same thing here this time? Veloce and Benito in a bit of a fight here. Audi versus Mercedes. Sorry. No, that is Audi versus Mercedes. Yeah, I don't mean to apologize. That is what it is. And Skyline pits. Skyline pitting now. Just a little bit past the 1/3 mark of the race. Do any of the other leaders follow? Yes, Bilbo is going to follow. What about Darkser? What about Scorn? Darkser is going to stay out a lap by the looks of it. And so will Scored Buffalo. So this will mean that at the line, Darkser is going to lead a lap here. By virtue of staying out a little longer, and Scored Buffalo will move up into the 2nd position, even if it's only briefly. Okay, here comes Veloce as well as Berkey, Origin, and Nara in SC. And Love Fishy pitting as well. But for the Koenigsegg R in the Lexus, I do not think that they're going to be in a very good position once Darkser finally does come into the pits. Big thing I'm curious about, how long will it take for Skyline to catch Buffalo? Buffalo doesn't seem to be too far off the pace of the drivers ahead of him, so if Skyline just can't catch Buffalo, this might work out well, because Skyline will still be in relatively clean air. Okay, so Darkser leads, Scored Buffalo 2nd. Do either of them pit this lap, or do they try going a little longer? As well, X3 Art Nico in 5th, and ZR Benito in 6th. They have not yet pitted yet. Those are the only 4 drivers who have not yet made their stops. Bilbo is also in completely clean air. So waiting that extra lap or so might not have meant anything for Skylar and Bilbo. I think they were fast enough that they would have cleared traffic anyway. But still, maybe it will help because they can split these stints a little better to have less tire wear, in the final 2 stints. All right, do either of our top 2 drivers pit this circuit? As we look at Skyline, Stint 1 led every lap but 1. Only lap they didn't lead was during a pit stop sequence. What about this stint? Scored Buffalo is going to pit out 2nd, but Darkser is going to go 2 laps longer than Skyline in Stint 1. One. 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005, 1,006, 1,007. All right, so I'm thinking it's about 7 seconds between Darkster and Skyline right now, as X3 Art Nico and ZR Benito have also made their stop. So Darkster is gone farther on his tires this stint than anyone else. Remember, stint 1, Darkster went long on first stint, short on second stint, and then third stint was kind of in between. Skyline went long, but not as long as Darkster, on stint 1 and 2. So we could see a little bit of a tire comparison here. The big difference, though, is that Darkster did not pull away from fourth. He spent a little bit of time not really defending against fourth, but having to be careful. So might work out more in Skyline's favor just because he spent so many laps in completely clean air early on here. I also expect that once Darkster pits and then comes back out, they'll likely end up behind Bilbo. When it comes to Scored Buffalo and Koenigsegg Koenigsegg was behind Darkster, but now they are trapped behind Scored Buffalo. Mind you, Buffalo stayed out longer than Koenigsegg, so the undercut did not work for Koenigsegg, at least compared to Scored Buffalo. But once Darkster pits, might Koenigsegg end up ahead of Darkster? I look at the map, I don't think so. Maybe the undercut didn't work for this group. All right, Darkster finally in pit lane. We know Darkster is going to fall to at least third position. Where is he going to end up in relation to these two? Scored Buffalo and Koenigsegg. Skyline finally gets by Darkster. And we'll see Bilbo follow suit shortly after. Fourth and fifth go through the high-speed final corner bend. All right, Bilbo easily clears Darkster. And there's Darkster coming out of the pit lane right now. Oh, I've got bad news for you, Koenigsegg. That early pit stop did not work. While you two will continue to close in on Darkster down the entire straight, you're just not close enough. So, good news for Scored Buffalo. He is absolutely fast enough to maybe run down Darkster. Bad news for Koenigsegg. That early pit stop hurt him more than helped him, probably because he spent so much time fighting Fishy. And then Darkster may have trouble, not in the form of Koenigsegg, but maybe in the form of Scored Buffalo. But I think first and second, Skyline and Bilbo are pretty comfortable in their positions, first and second place. NWR Origin and Neville having a fight for 8th and 9th right now. Origin has the position, Neville wants it, but the more and more I look at this Cadillac, while I put on some great runs in stint 1, under Neville's hands, I just don't think he can really maximize the performance. He's got great straight line speed. He's really good at utilizing straight line speed, but just makes too many mistakes. The rear of the car doesn't look very happy. A lot of the results, I think, is going to be mistake inflicted and just trying to minimize mistakes. All right, here's a fight. Hilfinger, LMP of Sand, and LMP Veloce. It of Sand dives to the inside of Veloce, hip checks the Audi, and the Aston Martin is ahead. Hilfinger in another Audi, now trying to find the run. He's faster than both of them, but there's no room. Sand runs a little wide, Veloce to the outside. Hilfinger trying to take an extreme overcut, undercut, crossover in that corner. Didn't really work out in his favor. We're going to go silent on board for a lap with Hilfiger in the middle of this incredible fight to see what fighting in the Audi is like for a full lap here around Kylami. absolutely been crazy. Just spending one lap on board with that Audi. Here comes that fight. The Audi right behind. The Aston slides in sideways, but just doesn't have the traction to keep the car straight through there. A lot of the field seems to have single filed out a bit, though. Of the three stints we've had, this seems to be the calmest of the three thus far. That's your leader who just went by there. Here comes your second place driver. LMP Bilbo, silently, strongly coming home second at the moment. It would be a great run. And now look at this, a fight about to form between SFM Darkster, Scored Buffalo, and Koenigsegg R. It was Darda, who had been running as high as fourth earlier, but has slowly lost touch. Go figure, an LMP and of Sam really getting their knives out for this fight. All right, take a look at this. Buffalo closing in on SFM Darkster. This IFEA BMW entry did not finish Stint 2 and had a very mediocre Stint 1, but a podium might be in the cards for this entry. Buffalo has run down Darkster. One thing of note, though, Darkster has tires that went way farther than anyone else's in Stint 1. Darkster then afterwards short stint stopped, not massively, but slightly short stopped Stint 2. So Darkster might be trying to maximize tire advantage to the end of this run, but Buffalo does seem to have lap times, at least, that for the majority of a stint doesn't seem to really matter. And when I say stint in context of this, I don't mean this is stint 3 out of stint 6 for the entire event. I mean pit stop stints. You're required 2 stops in the race, so that means you can split the race into 3 roughly even distances between stops, and that's normally what you would call stints in proper racing. Normally you would call it a fuel stint or a tire stint. I'm just kind of shortening it to stint of, simplicity, out of mental laziness. All right, out of the final corner. Once again, Darkster only about 150 feet ahead of Buffalo. The Aston does seem to have superior straight line speed. The BMW just seems to be able to crack out better lap times. Seems to be a little bit better in handling and braking than Darkster's Aston. Again, that's one of the Astons that got nerfed. I mean, all the Astons got nerfed, but that Aston got nerfed. That is not the same car that Darkster and his team would have qualified in during qualifying throughout the last 8 or 9 days. The car got nerfed about 32 hours before, and Darkster is performing well in spite of it, but Buffalo being able to close in on Darkster like this is showing that, yes, the car is hurt, it is down, and it might end up costing it positions. Koenigsegg is slowly losing touch with Buffalo. At this point last lap, Buffalo was closer to Koenigsegg than he was Darkster. Now that has flipped. Buffalo is slowly gapping Koenigsegg and slowly closing on Darkster. Now, if these two spend a lot of time fighting, it will likely bring Koenigsegg back up into the fray. Right, where credit is due, Bilbo has actually opened up the gap between himself and Darkster. Hasn't really closed down the gap between himself and Skyline, but it does look like, unless Buffalo blitzes by Darkster and then continues to set some monster laps, I think first and second are pretty much locked in to the end of this race. About halfway through this run here, Darkster still holds position, but Buffalo continues to close. There's a real nasty fight going on there. They're about 7th on back. Neville just cannot seem to bring home a good result. He's really, really good at fighting, but then makes so many self-inflicted mistakes. I think this car could legitimately be a top 5 or 6 car, but Neville just does not seem to be able to handle it. I think he needed something that maybe was a little bit more well-rounded than instead of just min-maxing the straight line. Berkeley has gotten back by him in the Audi, and Origin has actually scooted away just a little bit. And Exegard Nico will be the next driver to catch him. Alright, Buffalo runs right behind Darkster at the moment. Uphill once again. He is totally within Darkster's draft, which will help the BMW a bit in straight line. And I don't think the BMW is great in a straight line as is, so this would help minimize the BMW's weaknesses just a little bit. But can Buffalo actually make a move to get by? We saw in the last stint the Lexus that Koenigsegg is in tried and failed to get into third position, got into spot to make moves, but every time they would make move, it would just not go well. They might be able to hold side by side for a straight or for a corner and then would lose it, or they'd slide off trying to go for it, came home fourth, just was faster in lap times but could not make the move. Is that going to be what happens here between Buffalo and Darkster? Buffalo closes to Darkster each and every lap. NWR Origin had an off there in the dirt, and that has kicked him down to 10th. He was as high as 7th, but now he's been kicked down to 10th with that off. Is there damage to the car? No damage. They'll be able to continue. Buffalo runs right behind Darkster still, continues to get closer. All the gain that he's getting is under braking and cornering. Buffalo really is good at min-maxing the run out of the second to last corner, that high-speed kink. All right, he is right in the draft right now. Darkster still has superior straight line, but Buffalo is so much closer. If he breaks late, does he try a lunge to the inside? Not this time, but he is there, and they have left Koenigsegg behind. Koenigsegg has not been able to keep up. All right, Nemesis has gotten by Lovefishy farther back. This is a two-man fight for third, and Darkster has dropped tires in the dirt. Buffalo has a run. He looks to the inside. Will he make it side by side into turn 4? No! He hangs the rear end out. Keeps Darkster honest. Won't go side through here either, but Darkster leaves the inside open a little longer than normal and compromises his run through the corner. Buffalo is there looking for the room. When and where does he make the pass? Can he even make the pass? Oh, Darkster drops 2 tires in the dirt. He's going to kill his run uphill. Buffalo runs right behind, but he's going to be patient, won't lunge. But Darkster seems to be making a lot of mistakes now under pressure. It was one thing when Koenigsegg was behind, and Buffalo's trying to look on the outside. Darkster's not really giving him room, but Buffalo is there. He's still there. Is this the move? He's on the inside. Darkster slides wide out of the corner. Side by side on the run up to the high-speed kink. Buffalo's gonna back out because he knows he's faster here, and he gets the car completely sideways. How did he not lose control? How in the world did Buffalo not lose control? That car was so sideways it should have been gone, but he kept it straight somehow, and he is still right behind Darkster. How in the world did he not lose it? Incredible! now these drivers are starting to make mistakes, and if they keep doing it for long enough, it will bring Koenigsegg back into the fray. This also means that Bilbao is going to scoot away, and I think, unless something really crazy or abnormal happens, first and second, Skyline Bilbao is locked in. The question is going to be third. Buffalo putting Darkster under significant pressure once again. Down the back straightaway into this high-speed turn 4, a semi-blind right-hander. We can hear Darkster really squealing those rear tires. Uphill once again. And now downhill. Buffalo has a tow from Darkster. Had a good run through this corner before. Not really trying to make a move this time by the looks of it. Literally nose to tail out of the corner. Darkster has a better run out of the corner, has a bit better acceleration. But Buffalo is so much better in the corners. I think if Buffalo can get side by side with Darkster in turn 4, or in that fourth to last corner, that big blind downhill left-hander, if he gets side by side with Darkster in either of those corners, he'll have it. But any other corner, I think the acceleration for Darkster on corner exit will let him hold the position. Buffalo needs to be careful as to figuring out when he gets into Darkster's left rear, and now Buffalo backs out to not turn him, but that backs him right into Koenigsegg. So this is now a menage a trois once again. It's not like Koenigsegg is legitimately as fast as Buffalo or Darkster, at least not thus far in this stint. But Buffalo and Darkster are just kind of killing each other, not massively, but they're killing each other's lap time, spending so much time fighting and defending between each other that has dragged Koenigsegg back into the fray. Darkster holding third, Buffalo still right behind him. This is not the corner you want to get at Buffalo. Granted, if he can get side by side and have the inside line on the run up to the top of the hill or out of the top of the hill, I think Buffalo would be fine, but I don't think he's going to have the speed to make that kind of thing work. He needs Darkster to give him an opening to go side by side into this corner they're about to come into. Here comes Buffalo. Right behind Darkster. He'll go to the outside. Looks to the inside, trying to cross over on corner exit. Can't do it. All right, through the high speed, second to last corner, this big king. Buffalo is still right there behind Darkster. Buffalo is now so close to Darkster and so much faster that he's actually taking slower alternate lines and compromising his lines just so he doesn't break his momentum. Not a bad idea, I mean, if you want to keep the pressure up, but it's not great when it comes to maximizing distance. All right, here comes Buffalo to the inside Darkster into turn 1. Darkster pinches Buffalo down. Darkster taking a way outside wider line. Buffalo is going to give Darkster the position back, and now Koenigsegg on the outside of Buffalo. Contact for fourth. Darkster holds third. Here's not a bad run by Buffalo, and now here comes Koenigsegg to the outside of Buffalo. Can't make it stick. Kylami makes a pit way back there in the 16th position. Darkster holding on. Now Buffalo has to defend against Koenigsegg for a little bit. Uphill once again. Already in just about 3 corners, Buffalo goes from defending against Koenigsegg to putting pressure on Darkster again. Buffalo is definitely the fastest of these threes, but Darkster, the acceleration of the car is so good that in all but 2 of the corners, Darkster just destroys Buffalo. Although we have seen now that Buffalo can get alongside going into turn 1, but it doesn't look like that move will be what will give Buffalo this position. And again, as these 3 continue to fight, it all but guarantees that second position will go to Bilbao. You're just losing too much time to him. Still nose to tail. And again, at any moment, these drivers will make another pit stop. All right, Buffalo had a good run out of the corner. trying to maximize draft against Darkster, might try to make another dive into turn 1. I don't think that's the move that he needs to make, but it might be the only move he can make. Looks to the inside, Darkster blocks, and Buffalo can't do anything. They stay nose to tail for the moment. Koenigsegg falling off just a little bit now. Another thing to consider, Buffalo's is going to burn his tires up before Darkster. Buffalo made the stop way before Darkster, and then Koenigsegg made his stop well before both of these two drivers. So Darkster does have a tire advantage right now, along with a track position advantage. But if Darkster decides to pit early again, if he does, like he did in Stint 2, for the second fuel stint, if he decides to pit early, then these two might be on relatively even footing to the end. Oh, Darkster! Tires into the dirt! Buffalo's right behind! Does he make a move? Up to the hill! Yes, he does! He goes to the inside! Darkster tries to cut it off! Can't fully cut it off, but Buffalo still backs out of it. Run downhill again. That could have been the move, but Buffalo was a little cautious. Didn't want to cause an incident. Oh, Darkster missed the corner! Darkster missed the corner! He's into the grass! He's into the dirt! Buffalo on the outside! Can he cross him over on corner exit? Yes, he will! That's the pass! Darkster on the outside. He's fighting back, though. How aggressively does he fight back? He runs himself into the dirt! Darkster runs himself into the dirt! Koenigsegg pits! Darkster ran himself into the dirt! Is there any damage to the car? No, he'll be able to keep going, but not only has he let Buffalo by, that mistake was so bad that Darkster won't even get the advantage of having to draft off of Buffalo now. So Buffalo, in a car that couldn't even get a finish in Stint 2, couldn't even break his top 10 Stint 1, is now in a podium position. Really shows who the muscle is in that team. Gap between first and second, Skyline and Bilbo continues to stay roughly the same, but the gap between Bilbo and Buffalo is absolutely massive, and while I do think Buffalo might be a little bit faster than Bilbo, with a little less than 30 minutes left in this stint, I don't think he's going to catch up. Koenigsegg's going to be in an interesting position. He has pretty much split these stints as equal as possible, but everyone else is going long, so it just doesn't seem like it's really helping him, the undercuts in this stint. Loud. All right, real quick, let's look at another fight going on. This is Berkey versus X3 Nico. This could be one of the best finishes of X3 if they can keep it together here. Nose to tail. Nico's got to run. All right, Hilfiger is going to pit farther back in the grid now. Nico's just not having a good time trying to get by Berkey there. I do think that Nico might be a little bit faster, but not enough to just let him walk by Berkey, as you can very obviously see here. All right, when do our leaders make their next stop? Good news for Koenigsegg. He is in relatively clean air compared to the first time he pitted early, so this might help him a little bit. But still, he does not seem to be as fast as any of the four drivers ahead of him. I think it doesn't matter what Koenigsegg does, he is relegated to a 5th place finish at best, unless something bad happens to Skyline, Bilbo, Buffalo, or Darkster. And for Skyline, with the gap he has on the field, it would have to be something really bad to knock him out of the first position. Oh, hello, what in the devil happened there between Berkey and Nico? Berkey completely botched the corner, and now here comes Nico on the outside. Wow, what in the devil is that? That's two just complete door slams. It's like Nico not even trying to stay on the line, just completely door slammed the alley twice there. That's going to bring Origin up into play. Okay, Bilbo is going to be the first of our top 3 or top 4 to pit. Berkey all sorts of sideways there. Nico to the inside, neck and neck. Darda is going to pit as well. Darda kind of in an invisible 6th place position run. Berkey all sorts of sideways right in front of Nico. Somehow he doesn't wreck the car off of the front bumper of the McLaren. Nico rams into Berkey twice, and then Origin hits Nico from behind. Bilbo, credit where credit is due, is in clean air once again. So Bilbo is pretty much well set to the end of this run. Berkey inside, Nico outside. The Audi has been really mistake prone, but that McLaren that Nico is in, Nico has been incredibly aggressive, almost excessively so. I'm happy. I like seeing this kind of aggression, but TORA might not look so kindly on it. We have a drift back there by, I believe that was Konase. Again, that Audi. See, oh wow, Berkey, I don't know if he got hit or what, but all sorts of sideways on corner entry there. Nico right behind, puts the bumper to him again, and then Nico, every time Nico puts the bumper to Bilbo ahead, to Berkey ahead of him, then Nico gets slowed down. He gets Origin's bumper applied to his own rear. Calculates about 25 minutes left in the stint. Berkey holds the line. Here comes Stuart Nico. He won't go side by side in the corner. They're going into the pits. It will be Berkey and Origin, so Nico will get some laps in clean air. It's also good news for Konase, because this means Konase will be able to get by these positions. Won't have to worry about rain and dirty air for a bit. But again, with Konase's pace, I think he's pretty much locked up 5th. There's not really anything he can do to get better than 5th. So credit to Darkser. He has not let Buffalo go completely. He has actually started to run the gap between himself and Buffalo down a bit. I have to wonder if that might be because Buffalo pitted early in Stint 1, might be pushing the tires a little bit past their ideal time here in Stint 2. It may be a case of tires. But again, both these drivers have to pit again, and I do think that Buffalo will have the advantage as long as he doesn't make any significant self-inflicted mistakes here. The big thing, though, is that Bilbo is pretty much, even on the shorter straights, he's almost on the exact same straights as these guys. So once Buffalo and Darkser pit, Bilbo's going to go back to the second, and there's no doubt in my mind at all that Bilbo has second locked up. I think Buffalo's faster, but there's just not enough time. Buffalo spent so much time trying to get by Darkser that there's just no way for Buffalo to actually do anything to Bilbo at this stage of the race. And then Skyline, same thing there. Just clean air, almost from the word go, has led every lap but 2. 2 laps were led by Darkser, who stayed out a little longer. But Skyline going to go back-to-back on just dominating stints, pretty much. Darda gets by Nara SC back there, but again, Nara hasn't made their second stop, so that's not really a good indicator of where their actual pace is. WR Origin and Berkey are around top of each other, but they were fighting Nico, and I'm really interested to see where they're going to end up in relation to each other once Nico makes his pit. All right, now Nara SC is making their pit, Veloce is making their pit as well, and so is Nemesis. Love Fishy, who, made their first stop a little early. Seems to be going a little longer on this here second stint. So all but about 5 drivers have made their 2 mandatory stops. Fishy, Nico, Darkser, Buffalo, Skyline all have yet to make their final stops of the day. And there's Skyline. He will finally make his final stop. Scored Buffalo in second, Darkser in third, but I don't think they're going to be able to get ahead of Skyline even if they stay out for a lap. I think Skyline is far enough ahead of both of them that he'll run out, he'll walk out pit lane and easily still hold the lead over both these drivers. Buffalo's pitting this lap, and so is Darkster. So first, second, and third will all pit at the same time. We know Bilbo's going to get by Buffalo and Darkster without issue. The only question really is, will Konosei be able to close in on Buffalo and Darkster? I'm going to be 100% honest. With the gaps I'm seeing, I don't think it's happened. I think that unless one of these drivers made a big mistake on their pit stop, or if they have a big incident on the track, I think our top 5 finishers, maybe even top 6 if you include Darda, will all pretty much be solidified. Nico is making his final stop, so only Love Fishy has yet to make his last stop of the race. As FTC Sadie, who is a lap down already. So yeah, Konosei Gar moves up into 5th without issue. I'm anticipating that Darda is going to get by X3 Art Nico here without issue. Darda was a little higher up, fighting for about the 5th position, but just does not have the pace. It's been a quiet, solid day, but quiet, solid days do not bring you great results unless your quiet, solid days is what Skyline is having, just outright dominant performance. All right, Nico is ahead of Origin and Birchie. So Nico, having made his stop later, actually turned some laps in clean air, has ended up ahead of that duo. So good job on Nico's part, making that happen. Also of note, Buffalo and Darkster, in this little fight between them, Darkster has not totally lost Buffalo yet. Thing, of course, is that the gap between 3rd and 2nd is absolutely massive, and something may have happened. Is this Nemesis? Nemesis may have had an accident. No, there's no... He's out of fuel. Oh my goodness, Nemesis is out of fuel. Something has gone wrong. The car may not have gotten filled up, but Nemesis has been run out of fuel. The car is limping through. It's in ghost mode, but it is limping towards the pit lane right now. Oh, he got hit by Konosei! And the rear of the car is destroyed. What about Konosei? Is there any damage on his machine? Konosei, who had been running top 5 on merit solidly all day long. No damage. So it looks like the game only recorded damage to Nemesis. And that car looks like it is beached. Out of fuel, trying to limp into the pit lane. And as you can see here, it is destroyed. It is not going anywhere, and I would not be surprised if he ends up backing out. It looks like that car is completely stuck. So when that Stint, that thus far at least, has had no lag outs, it looks like a big accident will be the thing that really screws this up. Skyline is by. Okay, we can't really see it from this angle. Anyways, Darkster is keeping Buffalo honest, so this fight for 3rd is not over. I do think Buffalo has the upper hand, but Darkster has not let Buffalo get away. Somehow, the game did not register any damage to Konosei when Konosei hit Nemesis's machine. So Konosei gonna be very, very thankful. So again, it looks like our top 6 finishers are all locked up. The question will be scored Buffalo versus Darkster, but I do think between these two, it's pretty obvious that Buffalo is superior. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes, I think he's gonna take it home over Darkster. So in this IFEA BMW that has just not performed at all in the first 2 stints, podium, is a heck of a recovery. I think the real fight that you start getting is about 7th on back. And Sweetheart Nico stayed out a lap longer, well, 2 laps longer about, and Origin and Bertrand put him ahead of both of those 2 drivers. Would be, I believe, the best result by Sweetheart thus far, or by this car thus far in these stints. Did Nemesis back out? Did Nemesis quit? No! That's Skyline! Our race leader! Our race leader! Oh my goodness! And this blows the entire event wide. It doesn't really blow it wide open, but all of a sudden Bilbo goes into the lead. Our race leader has DNF'd. I can't believe it with about 16 minutes left. Oh my goodness! And Skyline, who dominated Stint 1 and 1, dominated Stint 3 until getting knocked out, and all of a sudden Bilbo, who has been basically invisible, not through any fault of his own, but has been basically invisible most of the day, now inherits the top spot, and he is so far ahead of 2nd and 3rd, Darkstar and Buffalo. I think he's gonna walk off with this win. I can't believe it. Oh, and see what Nemesis has now dropped out as well. So Nemesis finally has retired the car after that tremendous damage. Darkstar has gotten by Buffalo. I did not see how this happened, but Darkstar has gotten by Buffalo at this stage of the event. So right now, with Nemesis drop pulling out, the only other car a lap down right now is Sadie. And again, Sadie is running with a dislocated shoulder, so I'm not really surprised that she is struggling like this. But Darkstar has gotten by Buffalo. Although with Skyline dropping out, Darkstar will go 1-2 in his stints, and Buffalo will still bring home a podium in a car that has just not been performing. But a little bit more surprising to me is just Darkstar getting by Buffalo when it looked like for most of this run that is Buffalo who had the advantage over him. Mind you, Koenigsegg is not too far off these drivers. If one of them have a big mistake, a big accident, he'll have an advantage. Now, let me see. Did Buffalo damage the engine or something? Oh, yeah. Buffalo with engine damage. So now Buffalo, no wonder he's lost touch with Darkstar. The engine is damaged, and now he's just going to be trying to stem the bleeding here in these last 14 or so minutes. He's got a big enough gap that 5th place is pretty much not going to catch him as long as he doesn't throw apart his engine. Scored really just has to worry more about Koenigsegg running him down and getting by him. So it's 3-Art Nico in 6th now. Origin is trying to close in on him. It looks like Berkey has kind of lost that fight, but Origin may still have something to say about Nico. Again, Nico got really aggressive, really argy-bargy with Origin and Berkey. I loved seeing it. But Origin might not be that happy with it and might try to pay the favor back if he can catch him in these final about quarter of an hour here. '14th, 15th, and 16th, these are the last 3 cars on the lead lap at the moment. And with Skyline dropping down, it seems pretty much guaranteed that these 3 will not go a lap down unless they have an accident here. Good job to Fishy for finally being able to get that Porsche to get a lead lap finish by the looks of it. Thumbs up there. Veloce trying to do something to Nara SC. These 2 have been kind of fighting it out, and then they relax a bit, fighting out. These 2 have been on top of each other for most of this entire stint. All right, different fight. Buffalo, his engine damage. it is not helping. Koenigsegg is now faster than him, and Koenigsegg might be able to pull a third-place finish out of a fifth-place drive. Time is running out. Oh, and C1 Nemesis is joining the party. Okay, Nemesis, go ahead, include your audio. Big, gigantic accident there. What happened that took you out? Hello, can you hear me?
Hi.
Nemesis, can you hear me?
Speak English.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, it happens. Well, sorry about the accident.
Sorry for you.
All right, well, that's the word from Nemesis. Not a great run. It was a decent performance, but it ends in a nasty crash. Sadly, we won't really be able to hear anything from him, but we do appreciate the fact that he was willing to try and jump in and talk with us as we run down the last 11 minutes of our run here at Kylami. Koenigsegg closing in on Buffalo. Let's check something real quickly here. Oh, wow, Bilbo is not laying down. He is still absolutely blitzing it right now. Doesn't really need to, but he is absolutely lighting it up. Absolutely just trying to destroy his lap times here. Anyways, back to this fight for third that is developing. Koenigsegg, faster now than scored Buffalo. Now we know Buffalo will be nice and smooth in the corners, but Koenigsegg has a significant straight line speed advantage. Boy, does he have a straight line speed advantage. Less than 10 minutes left. Buffalo will have to put in the defensive drive of his life if he wants to bring this thing home in third. This IFEA car seems to have been cursed in today's event. Maybe ran the first stint while maybe didn't really have any major incidents that were just not competitive, didn't even come home top 10. Then second stint was NFL racer, had small incidents, had to pit a third time when the fuel didn't get put in the car, and then got disconnected in the closing minutes of stint 2. Buffalo didn't have a good starting position, but immediately raced his way up to third, as high as second even. But now, with engine damage, it is falling away from him. Falling away from me. This bad engine is beating him down. It's beating him down into the ground. Beating him down. I should stop trying to quote foreign lyrics. For Koenigsegg, the question is just when. It may not be if. It looks like it's going to be when. This Lexus is so much faster. And while Buffalo can defend easily in every corner, this circuit is not all corners. There are straights, and Koenigsegg is close enough. I think he should be able to outrun Buffalo on the front straightaway here with about 8 minutes to go. Also, granted to Darda, granted it was a 6th place finish. It's really only turned to 5th because the Skyline's disconnect, but at least Darda will still didn't do anything wrong and will bring it home in 5th position. Great job on their part. All right, Koenigsegg on the outside of Buffalo. Buffalo forced him to try and take the long way around. The Lexus cannot handle it. We've seen this exact same fight in Stint 2. The Lexus is faster in lap times, but can't make the overtake when it comes down to it. Is the Lexus doomed to the same result, or is this scored Buffalo with the engine damage that is doomed to see the IFEA curse of poor finishes, or just underwhelming finishes, I guess, continue here. Just a bit more than 7 minutes left, so that's about 3 laps. And Bilbo, the real interesting one, silently stayed in second. Got away from the field early on. Couldn't keep up with Skyline, but it turns out he didn't need to with Skyline disconnecting. Will still be a BMW victory, but not from the same team, not from the team we were expecting. Koenigsegg with a big dive. Oh, and he turns Buffalo. He'll back off, let Buffalo get back going again. That was a risky maneuver. Did not pay out. We know Koenigsegg is faster than the BMW. But it seems like that speed alone just is not enough to do it. Now, there is no damage to Koenigsegg. The cornering ability of the BMW might end up being enough to keep the Lexus behind. It doesn't look like it should, but that might be all that it needs. Koenigsegg is faster. We saw the same thing with the Lexus in Stint 2. This Lexus is faster than the car ahead of it, but it cannot make the move when the time comes down to it. Here comes Koenigsegg, lunges to the inside in turn 4. Buffalo outside, Koenigsegg inside. He squeezes the BMW wide. The BMW is still on the inside. The following corner will get the position. Koenigsegg crosses over on corner exit, can't make it stick. He looks to the inside now, into 6. Buffalo cuts down, denies him the position. Five minutes left in the stint. Off the top of the hill, now running downhill once again. We know Buffalo should be good through here, just because of the handling of the car. The Lexus has great speed, can close in a lot in the braking zone. Doesn't really seem to want to make the move here, simply because the following corner is so bad. We're going side by side in. Koenigsegg trying to pressure Buffalo into making a mistake. Buffalo has a decent run out of the final corner. Koenigsegg, though, still has top speed advantage. All right, here comes Koenigsegg. Does Buffalo defend? If so, how? Buffalo's going to try and defend the inside. Koenigsegg says, no, screw you. I'm going even deeper inside. Buffalo to the outside. He'll cut down in front of Koenigsegg, but can't really hit the apex of the corner. He'll still stay ahead. It's only about 4 minutes left. Koenigsegg hits Buffalo in the rear quarter panel, gets the BMW sideways. Lexus is still right there. Buffalo defending the inside. Koenigsegg goes to the outside. Buffalo will be able to lunge into turn 4, but Koenigsegg is on the outside. He's got the car ahead. He's clear. An outside line overtake. In a car that's not been great in the corners, he made it stick. Incredible. But can he keep it that way? Buffalo gets into Koenigsegg's rear bumper. And now the run uphill. The draft will help Buffalo just a bit. Koenigsegg completely blows the corner. Buffalo gets to his inside. Koenigsegg can accelerate out though, but Buffalo has the draft. Buffalo can use the draft and stay with Koenigsegg through this high-speed bend. Does he make a dive into the corner? No. He gets close, gets right in the rear bumper of the Lexus. It's not over yet. Koenigsegg needs to get to the front straightaway and open the gap up. He's sideways over the kink. Buffalo is right there again. And Buffalo hits Koenigsegg in the rear. They're both relatively straight coming out of the corner. All right, drag race down the front straightaway. This is where it works out for Koenigsegg. He's got a functioning engine, and while Buffalo does have the draft, his engine is damaged. Koenigsegg opens up the draft with about 2.5 minutes left in the stint. Koenigsegg, as long as he doesn't bosh any corners, should be able to finally bring this Lexus home to a top 3 result. And An incredible overtake by Koenigsegg. Finally putting that Lexus into a podium position. Darkser in second. No issue for him. While he wasn't the fastest, or even the second fastest today, not even the third fastest, he will come home second. And Bilbao is going to steal a victory off the back of Skyline's misfortune. Buffalo's not let Koenigsegg got away yet, but I think this fight is just about over. More than likely, this duo will have to go down the straight again, and that will be enough to give it to Koenigsegg for good. Other fights, Nico has completely stayed away from Berkey, who is now in a fight with Benito. Origin is running behind him, but I don't think he's close enough to make any moves. There is this little fight from about 10th on back. Neblo, Figure, and Mr. Kirby all kind of on top of each other. Kirby had an accident earlier on and was recovered to 12th, so great job on their part. LMP It of Stan, who started in second position. It's just been a horrible performance. Looks like 13th is the best they can muster. Nara SC has gotten ahead of Love Fishy here, and Veloce, I'm not sure what's happened to him, but Veloce has completely lost the plot, slipped down to 16th, but does look like they'll finish on the lead lap. And FTC Sadie is will finish a lap and a half down with a dislocated shoulder. We look one more time at the gap between third and fourth. Seems pretty obvious. There's only about 40 seconds left. As long as Koenigsegg doesn't throw away any of these corners, he'll have this for good. About 30 seconds left. And it is LMP Bilbao who spent the majority of the stint in second. Didn't even lead laps during pit stop cycles. But by getting away from the field early and keeping his nose clean, basically dealing with no traffic all day today, Bilbao is going to be in the right place when it matters and will steal a stint win for his team here. 8 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's time up. And your stint winner is Bilbao. Darkser will be the one who comes home in second position. Third will be Koenigsegg R. Fourth place will be Scored Buffalo, as IFEA's BMW entry continues to struggle. AWR Darda pulls out a silent but respectable fifth place finish. Sixth place will be X3 Art Nico in the McLaren. Got very punchy, but when it came down to turning laps in clean air, he made it happen. NWR Origin will come home in the 7th place finishing position. 8th will be NWR Berkey behind Origin. 9th will be ZR Benito in the Mercedes. 10th will be Nebel 8433. Cadillac just cannot seem to perform unless the driver is really, really comfortable with it. 11th will be Hilfiger in the Audi. 12th will be Mr. Kirby, recovering from an accident earlier in the event, a big accident where he had to go an entire lap around with a damaged car. He'll recover to 12th. 13th will be LMP It of San. Bad run for this team here. 14th will be AR Nara SC in the Acura. An Acura that at one point had a podium, but not a great run here. 15th will be Fishy in the Porsche. They will finally score a lead lap finish. Congratulations to Fishy for pulling that off. Veloce will be the last driver to finish on the lead lap there, as he's parked on the front straightaway. And FTC Sadie will bring the car home with a dislocated shoulder. Despite that, because her teammate dropped out due to 2 disconnects in the first 2 stints, this is actually the best result for the McLaren thus far. But Bilbao is your stint 1 winner, making it count when it came down to it. Great job on his part. waiting for the leader to move. Once he's moved to the next mile marker, then I'll know that they're just about done recording distances, and I will invite Bilbo and Koenigsegg into the party. I won't invite Darkster because I know Darkster is going to be doing Stint 4 as well. Still waiting on the final numbers to get in officially here. I keep hearing, like, brakes at, like, someone's locked the brakes and the car's trying to accelerate, even though the brakes aren't going. It's weird. These rims are absolutely awful looking. The rims look like they're like extra shrink down and small, and that there's nothing actually keeping the tire there. That is a disgusting visual glitch. I don't really notice it when the cars are at speed. Is this the only car that has that problem? Nope, Darkster doesn't have it. What about Koenigsegg? Nope, what about Buffalo? Oh, so it's just the BMWs. They look absolutely awful. All right, Konaseg R is jumping into the party here. Konaseg, go ahead, include your audio. Third place finish, a very hard-fought third place finish at that. What do you have to say about your run out there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, great. Yes. Yeah, that was a good stint, I think. I didn't expect to get hurt in the end, but I think Buffalo must have gotten like engine damage or something because he was so slow on the straights. But yeah, this stint went much better than my first stint. I literally changed the tune 2 minutes before the start of this stint, and that worked out pretty well.
All right, fantastic drive here. The Lexus also had a strong fourth place finish in stint 2 as well. So your team seems to be recovering. Who's driving the car in stint 4?
In stint 4 and 5, it's Noble, ECH Noble, and he should be the quickest of us. So let's see if he can go a step higher.
All right, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Thanks very much for jumping in and talking with us. You put in a great run out there today, mate.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you for streaming.
Yep. All right. So I don't think we're going to get our actual stint winner, Bilbo, into the party here. I could be wrong, but Bilbo might not be joining us. I'll send one more invite just in case. No, I won't actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to back out. If Bilbo is still in the lobby, I'll send him an invite, but if he has left the lobby, I won't bother and I'll close the stream down. Oh yeah, Bilbo is not here, so I'm not going to try and interview Bilbo. Anyways, I'm going to close this stream down in about 10 minutes, about 10 to 12 minutes. I will go ahead and start up the stream for Stint 4. All 3 stints have been very interesting in different ways, and it's going to be interesting to see how the next one is going to go. But until then, I've been your host, InsaneLeader13. Thank you very much for joining us. In about 10 to 12 minutes, I'll be back. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.